The five-star restaurant buzzed with chatter as waiters rushed between tables. At the center sat Billionaire CEO Richard Hale, famous for his wealth, power, and untouchable confidence. Glasses clinked, laughter rang out. But one waitress, Maya, noticed something no one else did. Richard's hand trembled slightly as he lifted his wine. His face looked pale, his smile forced. Everyone else ignored it, but Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Within minutes, her decision would mean the difference between life and death. Richard Hale was celebrating the launch of a new tech product, surrounded by investors and friends. Cameras flashed, speeches were made, and the billionaire kept up his usual charm. To the room, he looked perfectly fine. But Maya, a waitress working the event, had grown up helping her grandmother, who was a nurse. She'd seen the same signs before: light sweating, shaky hands, and the way Richard kept rubbing his chest like he was hiding pain. When she asked politely if he was okay, Richard brushed her off. "I'm fine, just tired," he said with a strained smile. Everyone laughed, raising their glasses again. No one believed her concern. But Maya's instincts screamed, "Something is wrong." Minutes later, Richard stood to make a toast. As he raised his glass, his voice faltered. His face turned gray. He stumbled slightly, steadying himself on the table. The room laughed, thinking he had drunk too much. Maya didn't laugh. She dropped her tray and ran toward him. "Sir, you need to sit down now," she said firmly. Richard tried to wave her off, embarrassed. But Maya didn't wait. She shouted for someone to call 911. The crowd went silent. Investors whispered, "What is she doing? She'll get fired." But Maya kept her eyes on Richard, who now clutched his chest, gasping. She recognized the signs. A heart attack. Panic spread as Richard collapsed into his chair, struggling to breathe. Maya knelt beside him, keeping calm while everyone else froze. She loosened his tie, kept him upright, and reassured him. "Help is coming. Just breathe with me." Within minutes, paramedics arrived. They confirmed what Maya already knew. Richard was in the middle of a heart attack. If she hadn't acted so quickly, the outcome would have been fatal. The entire room stared in shock. The billionaire CEO, the man who seemed untouchable, had just been saved by the one person nobody expected: a waitress. Days later, Richard recovered in the hospital. His first visitor wasn't an investor, a lawyer, or a business partner. It was Maya. With tears in his eyes, he said, "You didn't just save my life. You reminded me that all the money in the world means nothing without people who care enough to act." From that day forward, Richard funded healthcare training programs for restaurant staff across the country, inspired by Maya's courage. And, as for Maya, she became more than a waitress. She became the woman who saw what no one else did and saved a billionaire's life.